Welcome to this week's Sister Scoop, where we are going through three main Marvel topics in news and Marvel news, all that good stuff. And if we just get right started into the first one, let's go into Vision Quest. We're actually getting some news, and it's weird news. I don't know how I feel about said news because it seems they might be bringing back a character from the literal inception of the MCU.
Yeah, so this character who is played by Farhan Tahir, he was in Iron Man, and he was actually part of the Ten Rings organization that captured Tony Stark at the very beginning of it all, the very beginning of Iron Man 1. And it's such a it's like so important as a moment, but it's such a short moment in comparison to the over 15 years of MCU that it sparked.
Yeah.
And that character is also like in it for so little. So it is such I too didn't know how to feel, not because I felt particularly like, "Oh, why are they bringing this character back?" but more just like, "Why are they bringing this character back?" Like we knew Jarvis was in it, so obviously like Paul Bettany was involved, and like Jarvis becomes a piece of Vision as well. So I'm just confused. I'm like not sure what the tie is and what this show is about if we're bringing someone back like 17 years later by the time the show comes out, 18, 19 years later.
Yeah, I think my confusion is kind of twofold because we've built so much, to your point, since 2008.
Yeah.
Like there's no other way to say that. I mean, Iron Man doesn't even exist anymore in the current timeline. He is dead.
Yeah.
Tony Stark is dead. So I think that in itself is weird. I see the connection. Iron Man is one of the fathers of Vision. Like I get it. I see that connection. I see that line. To your point, Jarvis, I see it. It's weird though.
Yeah.
My other very strange feelings are we now know more about the Ten Rings organization, actual organization. We've seen the Ten Rings in action. We literally have a movie titled after them now.
Yeah.
And a hero who wears them. So I think, and let's not forget, Trevor, also an Iron Man initially because of the whole Ten Rings thing, made an appearance back in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious now about that because we know a lot more about this organization from a completely, like the real one, from a completely different point of view. And so now I'm also like, strange, because what is this man going to be up to? Are they still using the Ten Rings name? What's that going to look like? Are we going to see a different aspect of, because remember, his father, Shang-Chi's father, makes like a joke about this organization in the movie and how like, oh, they stole our name or something, but they're not real. They're not the real Ten Rings. So like, I guess that's kind of my first thought was I was like, okay, but wait, we know too much now. We know too much about this. So where do you fall into line and where do you play your part?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that too. And it, unfortunately, despite the fact that I love Shang-Chi, I have not gotten to rewatch the film since it came out over 3 years ago. So I thought that there was a line where it does address the fact that we have seen the Ten Rings, and then obviously Trevor's addressed in great detail. But you're right. They do kind of mention like, oh, they kind of co-opted our identity. So it is weird because he was a part of that organization. So is he going to have any knowledge or reference of what I would call the real Ten Rings now theoretically being run by Shang-Chi's sister? So you're right, it exists obviously it exists in a much larger universe now than it did when it was the only, film out. But even beyond just what happens to Tony and everything with that, which we obviously know, you're right, that is another aspect that organization has a completely different meaning now, 17 years later than it did in 2008.
Exactly. So I'll be intrigued to see how this one plays out and why he's being brought back, more specifically, what role he's going to play, both in the movie or in the show itself, but also just because of the two connectors that he has. But let's move on to a topic that I cannot believe we're talking about.
I knew
I
when I
am.
put it on the list, I was like, she's gonna be so excited.
Oh, I saw it. I was like, I didn't see this, but I see it. Like I see it. Cynthia Erivo, our Elphaba, our Wicked Witch of the West. Oh my gosh, I love her. Maybe Storm for the X-Men? Yes. Yes, please. That's all I have to say.
I mean, all right, I'm going to give a little bit of context here because for anybody who doesn't know and you don't know Katie that well, she loves Wicked. How many times did you see it in theaters? 3, 4?
I saw it in theaters 3 times, and then I have already bought it on Prime and watched it twice since it's been out. So
Yeah. So that's why
I've
I
also
knew
seen
she
the
was going to
Broadway
be.
show for reference, guys. I'm a fan of the show first, and I've waited for this movie for like 5 years since it's been announced. So just for reference, it's not a new obsession.
Yes, but anyway, I knew she was going to be excited for this reason. I also have to say, I mean, having seen the film, Cynthia is just incredible. I think something too, and I think she may have talked about this when she was, kind of manifesting her dream role, giving a little bit of Ari there. But, when she was talking about wanting to take on the role of Storm, she was talking about her voice. And that was what struck me was like, obviously Storm doesn't really sing. That's not really a part of her character, but because Cynthia is such a strong singer, she has such a presence and she knows how to use her voice as an instrument. And all I could think about was, watching X-Men 97 or the OG, X-Men animated series. This is no shade to Hallie. She's great, but I don't think she embodied necessarily that strength of voice that the
Yeah.
voice actress of the animated character does. And I think Cynthia could be the first time in live action, if she gets this role, that we are going to see someone who can truly bring that goddess level voice that we see in all of the animated series and in all of Storm's appearances in that medium.
I mean, I fully agree. This is like nitpicky, and again, to your point, Halle Berry was amazing. Like, I'm not ever going to take that away from her as an actress, but they also didn't give her the accent. And like,
Yeah.
Storm is not American. I don't mean to be like nitpicky in that way, but a lot of the X-Men aren't Americans. Like, there's
Yeah.
a good I mean, even down to Logan is literally Canadian. Like, they're not.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I struggle a little bit too. And since we've been so saturated now with a voice actor who does the accent and everything, I think you have a possibility with Cynthia. I mean, first off, Cynthia has an accent herself, and I think you can easily morph that into the Storm accent. So I think there's a little bit of potential in that way as well. But I do like that you're highlighting the voice. I think she has such an amazing ability to definitely bring that and bring it's soft but powerful. And I think that's the best way to describe Storm's voice is like, it's so calming, but she's out here like, I summon the god, like, it's insane. So
Yeah.
yes, I also think Cynthia is just an amazing actress. I mean, she could do the stunts. She literally did all her stunts in Wicked while singing in a
Crazy.
corset. So like, she's insane. So I would love to see her take on Storm. Obviously, she won't be singing on a broomstick, but I don't care. Like, I will love it either way.
She'll still be projecting. It'll be wonderful.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. So I really, really, I will manifest this with her. But we do need to talk about one more thing, and that is we got a Daredevil Born Again trailer, like full trailer drop. And holy, oh my God.
Yeah. Let me give you all a rundown of how this happened for us to watch this. So Katie watched it during the day. She's texting me. She's like, oh my God, new trailer. It's out. I see the text. I can't watch it immediately. And I'm like, thinking about it all day. And then I leave work and I'm watching it, trying not to fall over on the sidewalk. And I am beaming while hyperventilating because it made me so happy. The level of intensity, I'm not saying I want the violence for the violence, but I think this character is so steeped in violence, and
they do it
so
tastefully. It's not gore to be gore. Is that not always our argument?
Exactly. And it's so stylistically similar to the OG Netflix show. I mean, this show, I can't 24 hours later, I still can't formulate a full response because I am so incredibly excited. And y'all know this has been a show that I have been excited about for years, but now that we have like a real trailer and we're seeing and like the cameos and the characters that they're going to bring in, it's like the Netflix show on steroids, and I'm so excited.
Well, and I have to just say, I'm obviously very excited as well. And for those of you keeping up with my Defenders universe like journey, I just finished the second season of Daredevil. So like I'm fully invested in this at this point. But it confirmed something, and we won't go too into detail about this just because we don't have the time, quite frankly, and we could do a whole thing about this.
And we
But
will.
it confirmed we will. It confirmed Mayor Kingpin.
Yeah.
And this is something we talked about when Echo came out, because that was the only end credit we got, was him like pretty much implying he's gonna run for mayor. And we were like, so are we gonna see him, in the election? What are we gonna see? No, he's already mayor. Like that's it, full stop. That is where we're starting. So I think that was something beyond the trailer just being enjoyable. That was something I immediately was like, that is so important to know already. And if that's what they're revealing in a trailer, God, I don't even know what else the season's going to have to bring. Like, that's crazy to me that we've already made that leap. That is what we're going in with the knowledge of. Spider-Man somewhere in that city. Like, there's just so much going on in my brain that I'm like, oh man.
That predictions episode, guys, you're going to love it. Please, when that comes out, please check it out. Also, just like shameless plug, we did an entire episode on Mayor Kingpin and that storyline. Yeah. So you definitely should like check that out in preparation for the episode, because we did the research so you don't have to. So might give us a little bit I honestly may go listen to it again. Just give us a little bit of prep into like what we might see in the storylines that they might adapt, because there's so many opportunities with that. And it really is like a big moment, I think, in the comics, especially for our New York based heroes, which we have so many right now. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. And I am counting down the days.
I know. I only am not because I'm nervous, because I'm really trying to power through this Defenders universe.
Say, you're really cutting it close.
I'm really close. I'm working on it, and I've actually been watching it a lot recently. Like, I'm feeling good. I will be watching more tonight. So that's Luke Cage's first season. So I'm ready. I'm trying.
So good.
I'm ready. Don't worry. But I'm getting a little nervy. I won't lie. But we can go on about this all day. We don't have the time to. This has been this week's Sister Scoop. We hope you guys enjoyed this week's Marvel news, because there's a lot of good stuff. And make sure you guys join us again next week as we take on 3 more topics as they come out. Plus, we have the podcast where we will be starting to cover, I never get the name of it right because I still want to call it its original title, Spider-Man, not freshman year anymore, Spider-Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Is it? Okay.
Yep,
I just want to call it freshman year. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but whatever. We are going to be doing our predictions for that coming up. So that'll be our next podcast episode if you guys want to check that out as well. But we'll see you guys next week. See ya.